Hello and welcome to LaRosa Reads. I'm Denise LaRosa and today is the day where I share with you my 5-star reads for quarter 2 of 2024. Let's talk books. '24 has been an interesting reading year for your girl. Quarter 2 was meh. There were some 5-star reads, obviously, because I'm going to share them with you today. However, I had a month where I got absolutely no 5-star reads on my list for you. And that month is April. That meant some mediocre reading was happening for me this quarter, but I'm here to share the good news. The 6 5-star reads that I dove into for quarter 2. In April, I was able to give 3 books 5 stars. The first one being Becoming by Michelle Obama. I love me some memoirs, and I love memoirs by a wide array of individuals. You could be a celebrity, you could be a politician, and you could be a politician on either side of the aisle, and I will read your book because I love learning about these lived experiences that are so far from my own, people living in the public eye. And while I, as a spectator, am seeing news stories and, whether it's entertainment news or, news, I want to know, what were these individuals doing and thinking behind the scenes? Because they're humans, and I feel like too often we forget that. And so Michelle Obama delivered with her book. What I appreciated about her memoir was that it was succinct. She did a wonderful chronological journey through her life and gave us the real. She told us what was happening, but she also added her own zest to it, and it seemed very real. I listened to this on audio and really appreciated hearing her voice telling her truth. It was great. My favorite part was the most relatable part for me, and that was whenever Barack Obama was a state senator and she was a mother of 2 daughters, much like myself. And much like me, her husband was working crazy hours and away from home, and so she was carrying things along solo and really trying to figure out how to make this marriage work and this family lifestyle work. I really appreciated that. So 5 stars for Becoming. The next 2 reads that received 5 stars from your girl in April are middle grade novels. I am so excited to share that I read From the Desk of Zoe Washington. I love this book because we're dealing with a young Black girl who has a father that she's never known because he was incarcerated. She is living with her mother and her stepfather, who is a white man, and I love that there is some conversation, some exploring of what that's like to have a father who is white while you and your mother are Black and going out in public. So she discusses that. So you have that layer. You have grandma, maternal grandma present. I love grandmothers in these stories. And she's helping Zoe reconnect with her biological father, kind of behind her mother's back for a while. And Zoe discovers something about her father, that he was indeed wrongfully accused. And so she takes it upon herself to do the work of trying to get him out of prison, to get him exonerated. And oh my goodness, the journey is great. You also have a friendship layer to this, where her neighbor and friend are having some friendship issues, some conflict, which is very common in middle school. So a lot going on, but so beautifully done. The other middle grade novel that I read was in verse, and it's Other Words for Home. I read this book for National Arab American Heritage Month and enjoyed every word. Oh my goodness, the prose was gorgeous. The main character was so endearing, and I connected with her immediately. She is in a situation, I believe she lives in Syria, and her mother is pregnant, And so her mother and this young girl leave dad and big brother in Syria and travel to the United States to live with her uncle. I think it's near Cleveland, Ohio, maybe around Shaker Heights, because there is a lot of tyranny and fighting going on. And so to protect his family, the father thinks this is a good idea. And so for the first time ever, we have this young woman seeing herself through the lens of others and feeling othered. She's never questioned wearing her hijab. She's never questioned her name or the way she speaks. And yet she finds herself in this private school, in this school environment where she is very much the minority, and people are looking at her like, you're different. And she also realizes that she should be very grateful that she's getting this new opportunity. Her uncle is very wealthy. And so she is entering this situation that is very comfortable, and she should be grateful, but yet she also feels this push and pull, wanting to be home, also wanting to be thankful and trying something new. She has a cousin that is going to school with her that also is struggling with having her cousin living with her and being different while she's trying to maintain her reputation. You know, all things middle school. It was so wonderful to read. I loved every word. Just like I said, I highly recommend you read it. You guys, May was the month that I had no 5-star reads. April, I had 3. Oops. So, let's pretend like May didn't happen, because nothing happened that was that great in my reading life, and journey on to June. So, the first 5-star read that I read in June was Wrong Place, Wrong Time. And my goodness, this is a book that I've had on my TBR from the moment it was published, and I am thrilled. See what I did there? Because it's a thriller. I am thrilled that I read it finally, and it was giving everything I knew it would and more. We have a mother who witnesses her son stab and kill a man when she's looking out of the window of their home, and she's like, what in the world? This is obviously so uncharacteristic of her son. She's like, what the heck is happening? And she rushes outside. Her husband rushes outside. They are like dealing with this whole hot mess express. The cops whisk their son away, and mom and dad are like, what just happened? And then she goes to bed, struggles to go to sleep, but finally does go to sleep and wakes up. And it's the day before the murder happened. And she journeys through that day, goes to sleep. And then it's like 5 days before. So it gives me the vibes of the movie Premonition. This mom knows that she keeps traveling backwards in time to discover why her son murdered this stranger to her. And it's her job to not only discover why, but to prevent it from actually happening. And this takes us on a wild ride. And I love that, yes, we're jumping around in time a lot, but the author does an exceptional job of helping us keep up with what's going on, because the main character is asking questions that we would be asking ourselves. And I think that helps things move in a way that are predictable, but yet mysterious all the same. And the twists and turns that this book takes, hello, it was a divine reading experience. I loved curling up in my bed in the dark with my little reading light and reading this one. I highly recommend to read it if you haven't already. It also fulfilled my Buzzwordathon challenge of reading a book that has the same word twice in the title. So, yay and yay for Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Another memoir has entered my 5-star world, and it is The Meaning of the one, the only, Mariah Carey. Oh my gosh, you guys. So here's the thing about my thoughts and love for Mariah Carey. She's always been around since I remember her song Vision of Love came out in around 1990, if I believe, and I was in the 3rd grade. I remember hearing it on the radio all the time. I remember my brother buying the cassette and just seeing this racially ambiguous beauty with this long, flowy, curly hair. And she was giving, like, her voice was like top tier. It was like Celine Dion, Whitney, and then here's this girl, Mariah, coming out of nowhere. And so I've always loved and appreciated Mariah Carey for her incredible gifts. And I think more so than her voice, I love her as a lyricist. Fight with me if you want. Come for me if you want. But in my humble opinion, she is the best lyricist of our time and probably the top of all time. And so what's going on with Mariah Carey in her life? We see her journey. We've watched her evolve from, the young woman to like the sultry grown woman. But what was going on behind the scenes? Her infamous marriage to Tommy Mottola, the record exec of Sony, who had a lot of people like distraught, including Michael Jackson. I mean, those baby hairs were frayed over that man. So what was going on with that marriage? What was going on with the music? Derek Jeter, come on. She tells us everything and more, starting with her youngest years from as far back as she can remember. Her tumultuous relationship with her mother and her siblings. Her father being a Black man and just having to face racism and bigotry and prejudice in America. So much was going on, and it was told in such a way that only Mariah Carey can do. It had lyricism to it. She would sing. She had humor. You could hear her crying, It just had so much going on for it, and all of it was amazing. So well done. So truthfully done. I loved it, loved it, loved it. The last 5-star read for me in Q2 was The Kiss Countdown. I loved everything about this book. It was slow burn. It was delightful because the characters were so fun. We have A. Marie, whom is named after one of my all-time favorite singers, A. Marie. And she is an event planner who was recently laid off or let go from her job. She's struggling for obvious reasons with that and a recent breakup with her boyfriend. And then you have Vincent, an astronaut, a fun astronaut. And he is at a coffee shop. He bumps into A. Marie. And it was a little awkward, but he's looking at her like, oh, look at that fine piece of chocolate over there. She's kind of cute. And then they go off about their business. But they end up days later being at this same coffee shop at the same time again, because that's what romance novels do. And she runs into her boyfriend and she's like, he's with this other woman and living his best life. We can't let him think that I am struggling, even though I am struggling. So she grabs Vincent, this man who she doesn't really even know, and pretends that that's her man, this astronaut, to impress her boyfriend. We've got fake dating. We don't have enemies to lovers, but it was a little awkward. Now, here's the thing. Girlfriend's about to, run into financial mess, right? She has only so long of a savings. There's only so long that her savings account will last, right? She's going to be running out of money. Her mom has sickle cell anemia, and she has bills out the wazoo. A. Marie's helping to pay those. She's essentially about to lose her apartment. So why not ask a complete stranger? Why not make a deal with a complete stranger to move in with him? Because he's about to go off into space with NASA. So his house will be vacant for 3 months. Why not do that, right? Because it's a romance novel, and that's what we do in romance novels. We move in with complete strangers. It was still a fun time. Families get involved, so we have side characters that are interesting and fun. It was just fun. Did I say fun? Because I'll say it again. It was fun. I could not stop smiling, and we had a little bit of friction here and there. as all romance novels do, it works out in the end, and it is a sheer delight. I love this book from debut author. Etta Easton's debut novel just was chef's kiss from your girl. She has a sequel with one of Vincent's sisters, well, his only sister, coming up as the main character. I cannot wait. You guys, read this book if you haven't already. So that's all, folks. Those are my 5-star reads of Q2. What were your 5-star reads? Let me know, because your girl is always adding to that TBR. And until next time, happy reading. Bye.